5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening and welcome to the July 1st, 2025 meeting of the Gary Common Council. We will begin, as is our custom, with prayer led by Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this gathering today. We thank you, Father God, that you will shed your light and your grace and your mercy upon us as we conduct business for the great city of Gary, Indiana. Allow the words of our mouths, the meditations of our hearts, Lord, let them be acceptable in your sight. Oh Lord, you are our strength and our Redeemer. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Present.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Present.
Councilman Halliburton.
Present.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Present.
Councilman Tolliver.
Present.
Councilman Washington.
Present.
Councilman Whittington. Councilman Williams.
Present.
And President Latham.
Present.
Madam President, there are 9 present, 0 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With 9 present and 0 absent, the Gary Common Council has a quorum to do business. Colleagues, before you, you have a copy of the minutes of our previous meeting. I'll entertain a motion at this time for passage, for acceptance.
So moved.
It's been moved in second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Whittington. Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9 to 0.
With a vote of 9 to 0, our minutes from our previous meeting have been accepted. Assignment of council pending ordinances and resolutions on first reading.
CPO 2025-40, an ordinance amending Title 15 entitled Land Usage, Chapter 123 entitled Zoning Code of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Gary, Indiana, sponsored by the Gary Zoning Department, petitioner Armand Goldware, 1757 through 59 Wade Street, Gary, Indiana.
Unassigned.
Madam President, ends the assignment of committee ordinance and resolutions.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, any colleagues for special and select?
Madam President.
Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please join the 5th District Community Forum Thursday, July the 17th at 5:30 at Roosevelt Park Pavilion. Our special guest will be Emmanuel Turner from the IBEW 697. Our next meeting, again, that's Thursday, July the 17th at 5:30. We have another community forum scheduled for Monday, August the 25th at 5:30. And our special guests will be Congressman Frank Moran, Senator Mark Spencer, and State Representative Vernon G. Smith. We look for your attendance. I have a couple of appointments to make for boards and commissions. I would like to make a motion to appoint Earl Fitzpatrick, designee for Dr. Janice Seaman for the Advisory Commission for the Social Status of Black Males.
Second.
Madam President. that was
Oh,
the first
and
motion.
second, I'm sorry. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Whittington. Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 9 to 0.
With a vote of 9 to 0, Beryl Fitzpatrick is appointed to the Social Status of Black Males.
Yes. Okay, I would like to make a motion to appoint Bruce Curry, designee for Steve Mays of the NAACP for the Advisory Commission for the Social Status of Black Males.
Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy,
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Winston, Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 9-0.
With the vote of 9-0, Bruce Curry is appointed to the Social Status of Black Males as the designee of Steve Mays.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to appoint Cordell Atkins, designee for Work One, Reactive, for the Advisory Commission for the Status of Black Males.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy,
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Winston, Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 9-0.
With the vote of 9-0, Cordell Atkins is appointed to the Social Status of Black Males as the Work One designee.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to appoint Aaron King, designee for Dr. Yvonne Stokes, superintendent of the Gary Cleveland School Corporation, for the Advisory Commission of the Status of Black Males.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy,
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Winston, Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, vote is 9-0.
With the vote of 9-0, Aaron King has been appointed to the Advisory Commission of the Social Status of Black Males as Dr. Yvonne Stokes designee.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to appoint Dayon Fields, designee for Vanessa Allen McLeod of the Urban League, retroactive, for the Status Advisory Commission on the Status of Black Males. Is there a retroactive? October 20th. That's the date she gets on. So we're gonna remove it, retroactive. Just do it right now. I'm sorry, so. Dayon Field, designee for Vanessa Allen McLeod of the Urban League effective today.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy,
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Winston, Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, Dayon Fields has been appointed to the Advisory Board of the Social Status of Black Males, effective immediately.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to appoint James Wallace, designee for Dr. Erica Jackson, Chancellor of IBM, for the Advisory Commission of Status of the Social Status of Black Males.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Brown,
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell,
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy,
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Winston, Councilman Williams,
Yes.
and President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
Thank you. With the vote of 9-0, James Wallace has been appointed to the Advisory Commission of the Social Status of Black Males as Erica Jackson's designee.
All right.
There's more.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to appoint Lieutenant Richard Allen, designee for Chief Derek Cannon of the Gary Police Department for the Advisory Commission of the Social Status of Black Males.
Second.
Second. It's been moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown. Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Whittington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President-elect.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, Lieutenant Richard Allen has been appointed to the Advisory Commission of the Social Status of Black Males as Chief Gary Cannon designee.
Madam President, boards and commissions would like to make a motion to appoint Charles Smith to the Fire Civil Service Commission as a Republican.
It's been moved in second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Whittington. Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President-elect.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, Charles Smith has been appointed as our Republican appointment to the Fire Civil Service.
My last for today.
No judgment.
Madam President, I would like to appoint Oliver Gilliam to the Police Civil Service Commission as a Democrat.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown.
Pass.
Councilwoman Caldwell.
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Whittington.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown.
Abstain.
President-elect.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 8 yes, 1 abstention.
With 8 yes and 1 abstention, Oliver Gilliam is our Democratic appointment to the Police Commission. Thank you, Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell, and for your diligence leading our Board of Education Committee. Thank you. Councilman Tolliver.
Yes, I want to make everyone aware that on Wednesday, July 9th, we will be having a second district community forum. Councilman Halliburton and myself will host this here at the Gary Public Library and Cultural Center at 5 p.m. We will have guest speakers in attendance. Michael L. Suggs, City of Gary Operating Officer. We'll have Chief Derek Cannon, Gary Police Department, Christopher Harris, Redevelopment Director, Terrell Bonds, Director of Gary Housing Authority, and Riley Maryberry, Lighthouse Charter Schools. Our topics will be abandoned schools and parks and centers in the 2nd District. I also wanted to let everybody know that it would be cool if y'all would come and check out the Gary Common Council on Thursday, July 3rd, as we will have a wonderful flow coming down Broadway. Make sure that you come out and support us. I do believe we're going to be having one of those Councilman Washington cowboy hats on and boots, so we're going to be out there. So it should be a great time. These parades used to mean a lot back in the day, and I know they mean a lot now, so I would love for the whole city to be out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Tolliver. Councilman Williams.
Thank you. I would like to make
This one. Just pull it close.
testing. Okay, cool. All right, I would like to announce the 10th annual Walkathon fundraiser by the Blind Social Center. This will be Saturday, July 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you are interested to come out to participate, for more information or to get involved, please call 219-980-0097, and please ask for Ms. Blair. My second announcement, bear with me. Christ Temple Church is hosting Glen Park for the 6th District's first Farmers Market. The dates are August 7th, August 28th, September 18th. Each day, the event will start at 4 o'clock p.m. and it will end at 7 o'clock p.m. The Farmers Market is sponsored by Norfolk Indiana Farmer Markets Association, so please come out. Again, it's going to be held at Christ Temple Church. Location is 42nd and Broadway, Gary, Indiana. All 3 dates, the events will start at 4 o'clock. to 7 o'clock. Again, those dates are August 7th, August 25th, August 28th, and September 18th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Williams. Any other members, special-elect? Councilwoman Ivy?
Yes. Tomorrow is the 16 Weeks of Summer Wednesday meetup. We'll be in the 4th District at Ironwood Park Pavilion. That's 2400 Tennessee Street in the Pulaski neighborhood. Please come meet myself, Councilwoman Ivy, enjoy music, on-site resources, and other services by our city departments and community partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ivy. Any other colleagues, special-elect?
Madam President,
Councilman Halliburton.
I just want to share some information. Today is July 1st, and of course, the new laws have been enacted, and I just was reading some of the new laws, and this particular one from the Senate Bill 2. The Healthy Indiana Plan participants will need to get to work if they want to stay in the Medicaid expansion program. Starting Tuesday, Senate Bill 2 requires participants to work or volunteer at least 20 hours a week, with some exceptions, including for people receiving unemployment, in rehab, going to school, or parenting young children. So this is an important bill that's going on in our state. Those who are in fact, please, let's get to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Halliburton. Any other colleagues for special-elect?
Is Dr. Smith in the house?
He is, Councilwoman Brown.
I have a citation for Dr. Smith I'd like to read, if
Yes.
I may, please.
We are very happy to have our state representative, Dr. Vernon Smith, here with us, joining us in this meeting. He's here with us. Dr. Smith, can you approach the podium? We have a citation for you.
Okay, Dr. Smith, this is an official citation by the Gary County Council honoring Dr. Vernon G. Smith on his retirement from Indiana University Northwest. Whereas after a remarkable career spanning more than 3 decades of distinguished service to Indiana University Northwest, and a lifetime dedicated to public service and education, Dr. Vernon G. Smith is retiring from his post as Professor of Education, marking the close of a truly extraordinary chapter in Hoosier history. And whereas Dr. Vernon G. Smith, born on April 11, 1944, in Gary, Indiana, has proudly called Gary his lifelong home and has committed his life to the advancement in education, social justice, and civic leadership, remaining deeply grounded in his faith as a missionary Baptist. And whereas Dr. Smith earned his Bachelor of Education, Master of Education, and Doctor of Education degrees from Indiana University Bloomington, with a focus on elementary and middle school administration, exemplifying a lifelong commitment to academic excellence and educational leadership. And whereas his professional journey as a teacher in the Gary Public School System, in 1966, Dr. Smith would go on to serve as a principal, assistant principal, and ultimately a transformative figure in the academic community as interim dean and professor at Indiana University Northwest from 1992 until his retirement in 2025. And whereas in addition to his academic achievements, Dr. Smith has served the public faithfully as a member of the Gary City Council, 1972 to 1990, and continues to serve as a representative in the Indiana State House of Representatives for District 14, where he has been a leading voice on the Education Committee and Local Government Committee for over 3 decades. And whereas throughout his life, Dr. Smith has exemplified civic and spiritual leadership, serving as a deacon and Sunday school teacher at Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church and New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, and as a member of more than 40 community, professional, and religious organizations, including the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Indiana Black Legislative Caucus, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and the Gary Association for School Administrators. And whereas Dr. Smith's contributions have been recognized with numerous awards, including the NAACP's Overton Award, the IU Northwest Distinguished Educator Award, and appreciation honors from the Indiana Association of Chiefs of Police and the Brothers Keeper Shelter, among many others. And whereas his guiding principle, captured in his favorite quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, "I'd rather light a candle than curse the darkness," has been the cornerstone of a life devoted to enlightenment, equality, and empowerment. Now, therefore, let it be known that we celebrate and honor Dr. Vernon G. Smith for his unwavering dedication, visionary leadership, and profound impact on education, public service, and the people of Gary and the state of Indiana. In testimony whereof we have hereunto set our hands to this document in the city of Gary, state of Indiana, this first day of July, 2025. Dr. Smith, we are so proud. And I have something else I want to say. You get that off that note, okay? And many of you probably know, I have known Dr. Smith since he was, I want to say, a toddler, practically. His entire family, I knew everyone. His mother, Reverend Julia Smith, did the eulogy for my brother's funeral. Mr. A.J. Smith used to take us on hay rides all over the place. He was the diploma for us. He did all kinds of odd jobs. All of his brothers, his sisters, Bobo, Eddie, Thomas, Ducky, Cuz, his sister Margaret, everybody, I know them all. And I am so proud of you. I have watched you as you have progressed through the years. And I am so very, very proud of you, Dr. Smith. I really am. I mean, it makes my heart kind of flutter to see all the wonderful things that you have done in this city. So through the years, you've just been a wonderful, wonderful addition to this community and to our entire city. Thank you so very much. I just wanted to say that.
Well, you've heard my eulogy. We have 6 men around the table, so that's enough to be my pallbearer to take me out of that. I want to thank Mary for being a lifetime friend, her family. I want to thank this council for allowing me to experience this honor. And I want to thank the people of the city of Gary, the people of the 14th House District that has varied over my tenure, and all the people of the region who have supported me for so many years. I am so grateful. There are many people who want to be in leadership, and there are those who think they can do it better than you're doing it. And so I'm so pleased that the people of this community has supported me for all of these years. I am honored and I'm humbled by this experience. Before I take my seat, may I just say that these 59 years have been a glorious trip. And people look at me at moments of glory, but they really don't know my story.
Okay.
And I could not take credit for what people say about me and the accolades that I've received without giving praise to God, because He's made it all possible. You don't know the trials and tribulations I've had in trying to serve. I don't focus on them, but there's been some difficult days that I've experienced. I had no intentions of being an educator. I wanted to be a businessman when I was young. And through Port Counseling, I became an educator. Served as a teacher, had a weak principal as far as managing the students and controlling the students, so I stepped up and did that. He suggested I become a principal, and I made that choice. When I finished my degree to be a principal, I ran into a person by the name of Dr. McAndrew that told me that I would never be a principal. But my God's in control. And through a series of situations where I finally got my foot down, because they kept making me interim principal, they would not give me a principalship. I was able to get that principalship. And then while I was working as a principal, I decided to go back and get my master's. I did that before. That's how I became a principal. And there was a visiting professor from Michigan who said to me, Vernon, you write well, you make the best presentation in class, and you test well. He said, you ought to consider getting a doctorate. I had no desire to get a doctorate. Mary knows the humble beginnings we had. Just to get a master's, I thought I was doing something. But he planted the seed, and when he planted the seed, I decided to pursue it. And then I ran into Dr. McAndrew again, and he said, I'm not going to give you a sabbatical to go finish up your doctorate. I had completed 120 hours of regular studies, which you had to, at that time, do a year of residency where you had to stay on the campus. And being a principal at that time, he was not going to give me a leave. And so I just took it up. But I had, and showing you that God was moving for me, I had a chairman of the doctoral committee who kept assisting and calling me every month, Vernon, you got to come back and finish. Those of you who don't know, when you get into a doctoral program, you have 7 years to complete. I was in my 6th year, at the end of my 6th year, and he told me, if you don't come down, you're not going to get your doctorate. Dr. McAndrew had said no, but at the right time, he said yes. And he didn't give me a sabbatical, which he said he wouldn't give me. But what he gave me was the opportunity to work 3 days a week and go 4 days down to Bloomington. And that's how I completed my work. And on top of that, I served as a principal for about 20 years. And then you only make changes through agitation and dissatisfaction. I was not dissatisfied with being a principal, but the superintendent, Dr. Hawkins, that followed Dr. McAndrew, was even worse. And he told me that I needed to make a decision on whether I wanted to be a politician or to be an educator. And I told him I think I need to go from way up. And so he continued to pester me, and he broke the camel's back one day when we were at an in-service meeting, and he hollered at me. The only person that let holler at me and I stay in their presence is my mother, and she's gone now. And so I got irritated, and I submitted my resignation. Now, I submitted my resignation not because I was a fool, but because I knew that IUN was asking me to come there, and so I made the transition there. Mary, for your information, I really started working at IUN in 1978 when I got my doctorate. But I was a part-time professor adjunct, and they persuaded me to come there full-time. When I got there, and I'm trying to rush this story, but I want to give God the praise. When I got there, you have to if you're gonna keep your job, you must do research, you must provide service, and you must be excellent in your teaching. Didn't have a problem teaching, didn't have a problem servicing, because the service was certainly doing that all my life. But I had trouble with research. I had already published 2 articles in journals, in magazines, but magazines and articles are different from referee journals where they're based on research. And I was having a difficult time doing that. I had submitted my 3rd manuscript, which had been rejected. It was about 9:30 at night. I go to the mailbox and I pick up my 3rd rejection letter. I went into my office and I cried like a baby. And I said to myself, you know, God, and I didn't say it to myself, I said it to him. You know, why'd you bring me here if you're gonna let me fail? Why are you gonna bring me here if you're gonna fail? I have to back up just a bit because when I left Williams School, they threw a party for me 2 weeks later. And they presented me over 500, 600 letters from children. We had maybe 800 students in school. And the students were lamenting me leaving, saying they were sorry, how much they loved me, and so forth. And so in reading the letters, I began to tear up. And God is my witness, because His omnipresence here. I heard a voice. The voice said, your work is complete. He said, call. You get 7 years at Nobel School, completion. You get 7 years at Williams School, your work is complete. And I started crying at that point. So I get there, I reminded God at that point when I was in the office tearing up. I reminded him, I said, you told me this, and you didn't speak to me. You didn't speak to me at the time. 2 weeks later, a lady that I will always admire and respect and give tribute to, Dr. E.A. Coleman, came to my office at 9:30 at night. And she asked me how was I doing with my research. I could have been very arrogant and said, oh, I'm doing okay. But I was very honest with her. She said, let me see your manuscripts, and I handed them to her. She said, you write well. She said, but you're not writing as a referee journalist. And I didn't know what a referee journalist was. And she said, get the magazines, the journalists, study them, and then write that way. And that is those few words that she said. She didn't come and help me write. She didn't help me do my research. But just that seed that she planted made the difference. And now as I retire from the university, they have no more black full professors. Not to say they're not going to ever have any. It's a shame that when I got there, there were 6. When I'm leaving, there's none. And we must do something about that. Thank you for this honor. I appreciate the people that have supported me along the way. I have believed in academic excellence. And why? Because I believe what I do it unto God. I do it unto Him. So when I push students towards excellence, when I push myself towards excellence, I know I'm doing it towards God. Some of our students got angry with me. They have not liked me pushing them. I had one student that asked me, she said, what if I don't do this over again? I said, that's not the issue. You're going to do it over again. And that's what has made my name in this community. And I thank God for it. And I thank God for his support and for opening doors for me. And one more point I want to make before I take my seat is that while I was working on my doctorate, I had financial problems because I was a city council member. I was driving back and forth on the highway up 65, getting back to meetings and so forth. I had to keep an apartment in Gary because you had to be a resident of Gary to be a city council member. And then I was paying in the dormitory down in Bloomington. And I had financial problems. Now I was only working 3 days a week. And a guy that I argued with, he was executive director of the Alumni Association. He got on my case because I started the IU Gents, which was predecessors for the IU Don. And he said to me, he said, you don't have the right to create an alumni organization from IU. And we argued about it. And we argued so bad that his secretary came to the door because he thought we was getting ready to go to blows. A year later, I see this guy and he asked me to come talk with him, and I said, well, what is this, part two, we gonna argue again? And I go to his office, and he asked me how I'm doing. I said, I'm doing well academically, but I'm having a financial problem. This man picked up the phone. For that year residency down there, IU paid all of my expenses because he called the IU Foundation. So I have to give God praise. So if anybody ever writes my story, for whatever reason, James Legensburg, tell them that Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to me. Between every line of pain and suffering, and through the glory, God has made a difference. So I give him the praise today. So this award belongs to the Lord.
Dr. Smith, would you share with us your 2 new awards that you received Friday?
Which one you talking about? The one from the governor?
The governor and the president,
Oh, yeah, the president.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I got the second off the Wabash, which is the highest award that was
All
given
right,
out
yes,
in the
yes,
state of
yes.
Indiana.
All right.
And it didn't come from a Democrat, it came from a Republican. And I thank him for it. And then Kenneth Allen, who was one of my mentees, he's probably the most cherished mentee I've had. He was a little small guy in 6th grade when he joined the Academic Chiefs. He stayed in 6 years. He went down to be a page for me so many times, and he got that drum major instinct in him. He has now been elected to 2 offices in Indianapolis, and he reached back to President Biden, and President Biden issued me an award. But really, I looked at it today, the award has 24. I'm saying, how did he get this done in 2024? But it was named, I don't remember what it is, it's this thing, it says, it's something like distinguished national league or whatever, something just like that. But I thank God for those tributes and everybody who celebrated 2 weekends with me with my retirement. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel lost now, but I'm sure there's something else that he has planned for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Thank you. Any other council members for special and select?
Madam President.
Councilwoman Washington.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge Dr. Smith. Linda, you were reading, and a lot of people don't know this, but when you were reading out the nominations for the Black Males Commission, a lot of people don't know that the reason why the Black Males Commission exists is because of Dr. Vernon Smith. I was actually the 2nd executive director for the Indiana Commission on the Social Status of Black Males, and I worked out of FSSA at the time, and Jim Morovich was the executive director. But the first director came because Dr. Smith vigorously filed legislation year after year because he saw the plight of African American males, not only in the city of Gary, but throughout the country. And when he says you don't know what he's gone through, he's exactly right, because he had to fight session after session to finally get that commission, not only to go through, but then also to fight to have that commission funded. And one of the reasons why the Gary Advisory Commission exists is because, and I think Councilwoman Brown, this was your first term on the council, Dr. Vernon Smith and myself and others went around the state of Indiana. We met with the mayors of Muncie, Fort Wayne, Gary, Evansville, and created local commissions on African American males through local ordinances. And that came because of what Dr. Smith did. And the goal was for each one of those commissions in that particular city that dealt with a lot of racism at that time was to be able to fund a position to do initiatives for Black males. And Dr. Smith, I think a lot of people don't realize the agony you went through with your colleagues and your Republican colleagues to get this passed. Another thing that you all don't know about Dr. Vernon Smith, I learned education policy through Dr. Smith. When I was working for him as the executive director of the Black Males Commission, I saw his passion, and many of you all don't remember during the time that Mitch Daniels was the governor, there was a guy named Tony Bennett who came into town that Dr. Smith went head to head with. He was the superintendent of public education. And people don't remember, Dr. Smith, that the decline of the Gary schools wasn't necessarily regarding poverty and jobs. It's when we actually switched testing from spring to fall testing. And that, and I don't want to get into it, but fall testing is when you test your children, because everything was based on one test. So spring testing was like in college, it was a cumulative examination at the end of the year. The teachers had the opportunity to educate the children, and at the end of the year, they were able to take that test and go on the knowledge of what they had been taught. When they switched it to fall, and it was mainly done because some of our Republican legislators had an issue with going on vacation, they switched it to the fall, which meant as soon as children came back to school, teachers had probably maybe a month or two to remediate children who were suffering from different economic, social circumstances, and you had literally a year and a half, a month, maybe a month and a half to prepare them for a major test, and that's when our scores plummeted. And the last thing, the reason why Dr. Smith said this, and I remember I was on the school board, and I'm gonna tell you all, one of the greatest times in Gary for politics was probably between the years of 1965 to 80. But I got a chance, Councilwoman Brown, to sit in a room with some juggernauts. I remember when Mayor Rudy Clay was the mayor, I was his lobbyist, and it was a room. It would be Dr. Vernon Smith, Senator Earlene Rogers, Representative Charlie Brown, Representative Earl Harris Sr., Lonnie Randolph, Mary Brown, and we would sit in these rooms, and I would just sit back and be quiet and just watch all of them go at it regarding legislation and what. And I can't repeat some of the stuff that happened, but it was like when Christian Laettner was on the Dream Team, and he saw it, and he just sat back. That's how it was like that. But the last thing, Dr. Smith, if you would have had the opportunity, I know we fought to get this done, and people didn't recognize that you being the superintendent of the Gary Public Schools, while also being a state legislator, would have benefited the Gary Community Schools, because not only would you have been able to lead the school district, but you would have been able to go and fight for the district in Indianapolis, because I think a lot of people don't understand that our public schools are actually state schools that are ran local. And it was always, Dr. Smith came up as a candidate, but they would always want him, oh, well, you need to retire from being a state rep. And I'm like, no, we need him as the state rep going to Indianapolis as the superintendent, because I think it was one other person that was there that was actually a superintendent and a state rep. And Dr. Smith, I just want to say you have been an inspiration to me. I know it was difficult wearing that blue tie, because as an Omega man, you probably didn't have a purple one to wear. But I was hoping that you would wear a black and gold one. But the thing is, Dr. Smith, you have played an integral part of educational policy for this city, and for the decades that you've been going back and forth to Indianapolis and adding your educational acumen of being a professor and training teachers to be principals and then superintendents. I just want to salute you and say I've learned so much from you, and I'm thankful that you have been a part of my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Where were you in 1980, Councilman?
Let's see, consider my mother was born in 75. But I have to say things. 10 years ago, I was in college. I was a triple major, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was always intrigued in politics and the merger between municipal finance, corporate finance, and how that can impact the government. So what happened was, I went to a college fair, and I saw a state representative internship available, but the deadline was the very next day. So I called Doc, and I said, Mr. Moore, I need your help. And he said, say less. I had an interview the very next week with 3 individuals on the panel. The very next day I got the internship. And not just that, I got an internship with Mike Pence in Ways and Means, also working with you. And I learned so much, and not just about politics, but about Dr. Smith and his commitment. This man came in every single day on a boot, walking up steps in pain, and was never late. Demanding coffee, of course, but was never late. And he would drive from Gary to Indianapolis almost every single day. I didn't mind it because he gave me all his Pacers tickets and all his Colts tickets, so it was cool with me. And I got many dinners for him not showing up and having to come back home. And I remember I was hurt when I left the internships. I've learned so much about politics, and I said I would never be a politician. And I remember I told him that, and it broke his heart. I said I would never be involved in politics, ever. I've watched things, the government we had in office at that time, that took place that really crippled this thing. And not just the city, but the state as a whole. That was during the time of RIFRA. Really bad time to be down there. And I disagree. The best time in politics was when I was down there with Senator Rogers. Mayor Melton at that time was there with Earlene. Karen was down there. Oh, it was a great time to be down there. The black presence in Indianapolis at that time was just, my goodness. But I called you several months ago, and I said, Doc, I feel like God's talking to me, and he's telling me to get involved in city politics. And I said, I don't know what to make of it. And the first thing you said was, do it, run. And I said, Doc, I'm getting into the game late, and everybody's telling me I can't win. And he said, well, God told you it's already ordained. And he said, if you ever need me, call me. And every time I've ever called you, you always picked up. I would not be here if it wasn't for you. Even when I look at my career, the educational accolades, they're good. But the decisions you've made to get me in the places that I've been, all the recommendations, all the phone calls, Doc, my life is solidified. And I know you won't take it. But God worked for you to get to me. And I appreciate you. So thank you.
Any other colleagues for Special Assistant Select?
Sorry.
Councilman Williams.
Testing, okay. So, Dr. Smith, Uncle Vernon, I have to say the same sentiment. My lifetime, which is, I think, coming to an end pretty soon, at the age I'm at right now. But I will have to say that I tried my best to do everything that you tried to do. You know, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd probably still be at the university teaching. I just couldn't do the COVID thing. Now I've been elected as an elected official, and I see a lot of those long nights that you had. I remember as a kid, you used to take me to the Democratic conventions, and the only thing my twin brother and I really wanted when we were down there was the chili and the hot dogs, because the Democrats were always cooking chili and cooking hot dogs. So we were like, oh yeah, chili and hot dogs. All the time, right? And we saw the long meetings, the long drives, and we did a lot of travel with you during that time. As you grew into your administration with education, as well as you grew into your position as an elected official. So I have to say this, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for guiding me, guiding my twin brother, guiding our family. I'm sure there's more to come. It's not over for you yet. Because I know it's not over for you yet. So I'm looking forward to those years. So thank you.
Thank you, Principal Williams. Any other colleagues that you want to select? I'll just add my voice to the chorus. Your fingerprints are all over the city. We were at Westside's track this morning, and I had a flashback of you with the Discretionary Appeal Board fighting for our district, working hard to try and get the referendum passed. We were there in a beautiful stadium on a beautiful field, and indebted in large part to you. I visited my cousin at the hospital. Her friend was a Frabel graduate. I told her, you all have a beautiful park, which is much better than the burnout that is the school that I graduated from. And I know how hard you worked on making sure that that happened. So your fingerprints are all over the city. I'm surprised your back isn't bent, because all of us are on your shoulders. We're very grateful for you. Thank you, Dr. Smith. I also have just a couple announcements. I want to remind everyone, especially with the 4th of July holiday coming up, that our city just passed and Dr. Smith, if you can, stay around. We want to get a group picture before you leave. Our city has passed a ordinance outlawing the discharge of firearms. I know that is a tradition for a lot of people, so we want to make sure that you know that you can be cited and fined for discharging your firearm in the air on the 4th of July and around New Year's. Also, I want to make sure I thank the Gary Public Library for hosting this meeting. While our elevator at City Hall is still under repair, we have been graciously hosted by the Gary Public Library. I also want to encourage everybody to support our library. Make sure that you visit often, download Oopla and Libby. Do not pay $14.99 a month for your audio books, because they can be easily downloaded for free from your Gary Public Library with your Gary Public Library card. So support our library, support their programming, make sure you follow them on all social media channels and share their information and share their events. And then I want to rush to thank the administration for the buzz of events that's happening with Food Friday food trucks. There was movies at Westside yesterday. The city, the vibration, it's all been a buzz with all of the events for the summer. So I'm really appreciative of the new energy in terms of events that are happening, especially in the 1st District. Thank you to all my colleagues who were able to attend the groundbreaking for new construction, some of the first new construction to happen in Etna in decades. Many of my colleagues were able to attend that, so I want to make sure that I extend my congratulations to the FNL group and all other partners that were a part of that. Thank you, Councilman Tolliver, for speaking on my behalf. And if you get a chance, make sure you stop by Lake Street, the north side of Bold Cleaners. A new or a reimagined mural of the Jacksons. It's up. It's 3 times larger than the original that was on the other side of the street, and it's nice to look at. Good photo ops, so make sure you stop by there and see that. With that, if there aren't any other council members for special and select, we will now have public comment, starting with Ms. Doreen Carey. Please be reminded you have 2 minutes to speak. The time is being kept by our parliamentarian, Linda Barnes Caldwell. I'll also add that it isn't question and answer. There are members of the administration who might be here to answer any questions you might have afterward. Thank you, Ms. Carey.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a resident, Doreen Carey, a resident of the 1st District. I'm also president of Gary Advocates for Responsible Development, or GARD, which is a local not-for-profit group advocating for clean air and environment in the city of Gary and for sustainable development. So I want to thank you, President Latham, and members of the City Council who were part of the Air Pollution Control Committee, Advisory Committee, for setting up last week's public forum on the serious impacts of air pollution on the health of Gary residents. Gary Works blast furnaces routinely emit hazardous air pollutants such as lead and mercury. Gary Works is among the largest sources of particulate matter, nitrous oxides and sulfur dioxide. in this country. These pollutants cause respiratory disease, heart disease, and cancers, such as were so eloquently described by Gary resident Beryl Fitzpatrick at last week's meeting of the Air Pollution Advisory Control Committee. So for a cleaner and greener and healthier Gary, we are asking that Gary Works new owners need to invest in cleaner iron-making technology at Gary Works that will allow for the mill to provide jobs, clean air, and a sustainable economic future for our city. So I want to thank the Air Pollution Control Advisory Committee for taking these first steps to make a positive impact on people's understanding of the impact of air pollution, and hopefully move on to making potentially a resolution that you can adopt in favor of moving forward with more modern technology at our steel mill for the benefit of people today and in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carey.
And thank you, Dr. Vernon Smith. It was so wonderful to hear your story this evening. I'm so glad I was able to be here to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carey. Next, we'll have Mrs. Tyndall. Is Mrs. Tyndall here?
Yes, I'm coming. Just a minute, please.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Tyndall. I'll just remind you, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you so much. It's a
Please
pleasure
state
to
your
be
name
here.
and address for the record.
Good afternoon. Greetings to the Madam President, Council, and those in attendance. Last time I was before you, I said that there was a dysfunctional park at 5th and Buchanan. I was mistaken. It's at 4th and Buchanan. And there's a swing set with the seat at the side, upside down. The other day, I had the privilege of seeing children playing in a park with water bubbling over, and the children playing in the water in their swimwear. That park was not here in Gary. It's wonderful that the Gary Public Transportation Corporation has arranged for buses to take our citizens and others to the Marquette Beach. But we need more than just one place for our people to enjoy water activities, and having fun in their neighborhood. We've got to do better, and we should be ashamed. Today is July 1st, and we need to do better. And it's an embarrassment for me to know that we treat our children and treat our community with as little regard as we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Tyndall.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment. We'll now have council pending ordinances and resolutions on third and final reading.
CPL 2025-34, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for property located at 3930 West Fifth Avenue, Gary, Indiana, to be used as an auto dealership. Sponsored by Gary Zoning Department, petitioner Eric Tony Smith, 3930 West Fifth Avenue, Gary, Indiana.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion for passage of CPO 2025-34.
Second.
It's been, yes.
Can we just make a note for the purpose of the minutes that it's 3930 on the agenda, but the actual ordinance has been amended to read 3980?
Yes, the next one is going to be the amendment, not substitution. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Overview. Attorney Molina.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
special use permit for a property located at 3930 West Fifth Avenue. I will take this opportunity, I think, to say, we've had a few of these special use permits for auto dealers, and I think it's a good thing on the timing, because it's kind of also spurred our staff to go out and make sure that these car dealerships are complying with what they should be complying with. And I think there's things like that, that happen and we don't pay attention because there's so many other things going on. And so they have compiled a list, I think, that they shared of all the car dealerships in town. And they're really going to make an effort in the next few months to really crack down on those who are not complying with what they should be complying with. That's just as a background. But on this one, specifically 3930, this matter came before the Board of Zoning Appeals on May 8, 2025. It is for property that has been used as a car dealership. This one was flagged because it should have had a special use, but it had been granted business licenses in the past. And so this was an effort to make them come into compliance. They did file the appropriate documents, and when it was heard from the Board of Zoning Appeals, they did find favorably that a special use permit should be recommended by a 4-0 vote. As the council is aware, when we do these special use permits, there are 7 factors that we look at pursuant to our ordinances. One, that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use will not be detrimental to the or endanger the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. 2, that the special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. 3, that the establishment of the special use will not impede or substantially alter the normal or orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for use as permitted in the district. 4, adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. 5, adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide for access management, ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion on public roads. 6, the special use will be located in a district where such a use is authorized, and all other requirements set forth in the chapter which are applicable to the special use will be met. And finally, 7, that the petitioner did document and present to the board that the proposed special use provides for the implementation of sustainable growth principles and initiatives as approved by the board. Looking at those factors, as stated, the BZA did believe that it met those factors and voted in favor of it. It did not place any conditions at the time. That's certainly something that can be done, but currently, as the ordinance exists, it does not have any extra conditions on it.
Thank you, Attorney Molina. And colleagues, to Councilwoman Ivy's point, we have an amendment that changes the address, or that corrects the address from 3930 to 3980. Is that the correct address?
Yes.
Yes, that is the correct.
In the amendment? So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to amend by substitution, CPO 2025-34.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and second, roll call on the amendment.
Councilwoman Brown? Yes. Councilwoman Caldwell? Yes. Councilman Halliburton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy?
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Whittington?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
And President Lake?
Yes.
And President vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, CPO 2025-34 has been amended by substitution. At this time, colleagues, any questions or discussion on CPO 2025-34? Seeing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy?
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Whittington?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
And President Latham?
Yes.
And President vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, CPO 2025-34 passes in its order.
CPO 2025-38, an ordinance reviewing a special use permit for property located at 4900 West Fifth Avenue, Gary, Indiana, to be used as an auto dealership by petitioner Amani Musla, sponsored by the Gary Zoning Department. Petitioner Amani Musla, 4900 West Fifth Avenue, Gary.
Colleagues, at this time, I entertain a motion for passage of CPO 2025-38.
So moved, Madam President.
It's been moved and second. Attorney Molina for the overview.
As part of the overview, I'm going to steal a second here since everyone's talking about Dr. Smith. 31 years ago, I had an internship at the House of Representatives, Richmond College Law School, and I got to see Dr. Smith in action, and I came away with two things. I knew that Gary was very well represented in the state, and I knew that Dr. Smith was the best dresser. And I will say my two best dates that I was down there are the one day when I won the Outstanding Intern Award for the session, but the second was when Dr. Smith told me he liked my tie one day. Anyway, sorry to steal that from him. And that's how I know he has purple ties, because he has a fantastic tie collection, I remember. Okay, so 4900 West 5th Avenue is same situation essentially. Zone B31 it is a auto dealership that is trying to come into compliance and get the special use that was needed. Same set of facts on May 8th, 2025. Came before the BZA, received a 4-0 favorable recommendation. Same factors, the same 7 factors were reviewed, and the administration supports this granting the special use permit. And if there's any specific questions, I certainly am happy to address those, but essentially it's the same set of circumstances.
Colleagues, I believe this one also has an amendment. So at this time, we'll need to amend by substitution CPO 2025-38.
So moved, Madam President. Second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call on the amendment, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Yes.
Councilman Halliburton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy?
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver?
Yes.
Councilman Washington?
Yes.
Councilman Whittington?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
And President Laker.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
The vote is 9-0, CPO 2025-38. Attorney Molina, for the public, can you describe the amendment?
Yes, the amendment was just correcting the correct section in the zoning code. So in the second whereas paragraph in section 123-194, that is what we're amending, or that is where the special use is being granted out of that, which corresponds to the B3-1 zoning district. Also, there was a typo in the after the now therefore be it ordained section 1. It says at the end of that, by establishing a special use permit for the use of an auto dealership facility for the property described at 49 West 5th Avenue. There was a typo in the previous version, so that just corrected.
Thank you, Attorney Molina. Colleagues, any questions, comments, discussion? Councilman Whittington.
Thank you very much. You referenced that you were the same as the last one. This one, they do custom work, correct? They do body work as well, besides just auto dealer?
It's just for auto dealerships.
The name of the business is Elusive Customs and Motorcycles.
That may be the only thing we might need them to, both of them, to put new signs up. That's,
That's, I'm sorry. He's waiting, so.
I will say at the committee meeting, there were some issues with the appearance of the lot. I'm not sure if the petitioner is prepared to address.
Sure, Mr. Muslim. I do know that there was extensive cleanup done, but he can certainly.
No, I'm fine with the cleanup. My question is the signs still up. That's all I was asking.
Sure.
And can you be clear about what you plan to do?
It's gonna be auto sale.
Okay.
We're gonna do some work only for mud cars, not for people outside. We're gonna work only for our cars. But as far as the sign, we working on the sign, because it's been taken for a while. So we put it for hold until we get the approval from the zoning and everything to be an auto dealer.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, no, I was just confused by the sign.
Yeah, because the sign still
I
says
was like, we do
that.
auto sales or we doing custom work?
Yeah, no, none of that custom work is gonna
Okay.
be done over there. Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes, do we have any updated pictures?
I know they brought some to the committee meeting. I don't know if they have.
Because there were still some things in question from last time that was around.
I
believe they did cleanup right before the Development and Planning Committee meeting, and those pictures were distributed during that meeting, and I believe the discussion was favorable as far as their effort that was made.
Councilwoman Barnes Caldwell.
Councilman Tolliver.
Speak into the mic, please, and turn it on. Can you hear me?
Okay. Last week at the committee meeting, his dealership was up to par. It was the other one, and they brought in pictures today. They have hard copies back there from the other.
Councilman Whittington, any other colleagues? I'll just say it as a message to Mr. Smith as well as Mr. Musla. Keep these places clean. It's a new day in our city. If it's an auto dealership, it needs to look like an auto dealership, not a junkyard. We don't want any special uses that will be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity. So if I'm standing across the street looking at your property, I want to be able to enjoy my view. So just keep that in mind. And to any other petitioners as we move forward, our council members are driving around looking at your properties. So keep them clean. Thank you. Councilman Tolliver.
I take it personally with the Fifth Avenue area, especially with the car lots, because I have to drive past them every single day. And I understand that we might be up to compliance now, but we also know within probably about a month or two, it's not going to be in compliance. And I also have a problem with youth that are graduating high school. And I want these car lots to be in the best practice. I don't want you taking advantage of the kids because they might not have reliable transportation. And they come get a car from you all, they're spending $20,000, okay? And then you look up and the car breaks down and you still got to pay for the vehicle. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure that we're doing the best by our people and our youth and people that are buying these vehicles. Because everybody knows, let's be real, have a real realization about the situation. When you're driving by Fifth Avenue, nobody wants to buy a car like that. I'm just being honest with you. I just bought a brand new vehicle. I'm not going to Fifth Avenue to go buy a car. And when we look at these car lots, it's weeds everywhere. There's RVs on the side. There's tires on the side. Let's be real. And I want to know that when you go and you get these car lots, are you really trying to sell these cars?
It's gonna be totally different than the other dealers are. It's gonna be totally different than the other dealers you're seeing in Fifth Avenue right now. Yeah, because what we're working with, only with late models, and all the cars is gonna be with like late models, like 5, 6 years old, the most, not older than that. And it's gonna be all the cars coming with warranties, like a good shape cars, none of broken cars, because I built a representative for my business too. I'm gonna build a business to succeed for a future. I'm not gonna be there for 1 year, then after that, be somewhere else. I'm looking for something for a future. Other than that, I wouldn't be just going to do all this, just to open up for a year or build a bad relationship with people. Because it's like any business you open. When you open a business, if you open up with a bad relationship, it's gonna stay a bad relationship. So it's gonna be, after we open up, you will see the different over here.
Thank you, Councilman Tolliver. Thank you, Mr. Musla. And again, not to single you out, Mr. Musla, Mr. Smith, hold on to your ordinance. Number 3 is orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. So we want to make sure when we drive by, what is it, 3930 West 5th and 4900 West 5th, that we want businesses that want to move next to your place because they look so good. Thank you. If no other colleagues, Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Madam President. So let me say this, and I want to make sure that we don't step out of our bounds as legislators. I know that the administration is working, and I talked to Attorney Molina and Corey Sharp about this, is working on an ordinance regarding the specifications for car lots. Now, when it comes to what type of financing and deals, that's a little bit out of our purview. If that's something that we want to get into, that's getting into an individual company's business plan. The one thing, Madam President, I did share with Attorney Molina and Ms. Sharp. See, this genesis starts with the Planning Commission and with the Zoning Commission. Because a lot of the things that Attorney Molina is saying, we should not, as a council, need to spend time adding additions and things like that. Those things should be handled at the level of the Planning Commission or the zoning. So by the time it comes to us, lots should be clean. Signs that have no relevance to the ordinance should be gone. So when it comes to us, I just feel this year that the council has had to do a little bit too much work, give our attorney a little bit too much work, which things should probably have already been kind of done by the time it comes to this body. And so I'm hoping in the future that you will share, and I know you will, the latitude that the Zoning Commission has to request that certain things happen before it comes to us. Because one thing I don't like the council looking like the bad guy when it comes to things that could have been handled before it came to us. So when a car lot comes to us, when someone drives around, it should be spanking clean. The sign should be at that point, but that, we have layers, and that kind of stuff should be taken care of. And again, I'm hoping that we can get Toyota or somebody else to come in and provide that. How we delve into the business practices of, people buying cars, as consumers, we gotta put stuff out to make sure that we actually question do certain things because it's their business plan. But when it comes to how it looks, the council shouldn't have to put this much work in to deal with these ordinances. So I'm hoping at the level before it gets to us that you would express that latitude that those commissions actually do have to put stipulations on the ordinance before it comes to us. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Washington. Everything that, Councilwoman
I
Brown.
agree with Councilman Washington. I agree. I mean, we pass these ordinances for these car lots, and you drive past them, and they look like a junkyard. So many of them just look like junkyards. And so I agree with Councilman Washington 100%. We need to be certain that these things are done before we pass the ordinance. That's all. I have a problem with all these junky, junky car lots. I mean, they look junky. Got enough of them. Too many of them.
Thank you, Councilman Brown.
Madam Chair,
Councilman
let me
Washington.
add this. Even if the administration finds something after it passes zoning, put it on paper and just bring it to us and say, hey, this got passed zoning, it got passed planning, but we believe as an administration, these certain things should be added on to that. And we have no problem with that. I just think it's unfair for us to have to tell you all, when we see certain things, when we're driving on, let's add this, let's add that. Be very liberal when it comes to ensuring that the properties that people are investing in, and they come to us, that every T is crossed and every I is dotted, so we can just move smoothly and redevelop this community. So I don't have a problem if you buy cars from an auction or if you're Toyota. The presentation is what many of us are concerned about. It's the presentation, because some car lots give you a better deal if you go to a franchise. But a lot of times people don't think that because of the presentation that it is. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Washington. And to your point, while it may not be fair or right or easy for us to do the work, we will do the work.
Right.
This is a body of council people who will do the work, and we will make it as uncomfortable for you to do the wrong thing in our city as many other surrounding communities do. It is uncomfortable when certain businesses are in some of our surrounding committees. And we are 100% committed to making sure that happens. So we want to make sure a year from now when this is revisited, 6 months from now, whenever it's revisited, that you're keeping your place clean, that we see improvements on your site. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Attorney Molina. We'll have roll call at this time, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Brown. Councilwoman Caldwell.
This is the amendment or what?
We did, this is passage.
Councilman Halliburton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ivy.
Yes.
Councilman Tolliver.
Yes.
Councilman Washington.
Yes.
Councilman Winston.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
And President Latham.
Yes.
Madam President, the vote is 9-0.
With a vote of 9-0, CBO 2025-38 has passed and is so ordered.
Madam President, as pending ordinances and resolutions on third.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we'll entertain any reports or questions of city officials. Seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.